They didn't mention this in the latest beta and preview changelog, but the Minecraft developers have secretly added the new mobile touch controls for Android and iOS players. And I'm going to show you how to activate it. Okay, listen up. In order to get access to this, you need to be in preview on iOS or beta on Android. And it needs to be the version 1.20.40.22. You can do this in the previous version, but you've got to fiddle around with the coding in order to access it. This week, you do not. Next, head into settings. On iOS or Android, go to touch controls. Now, at the top, we have this, which you guys have seen for a very long time. Below that, you are going to see resizable UI. Now, just activate this. It is going to pop up and it's going to be grayed out, and there's like an eye there saying load a world to customize controls. So let's go into a world. Once you're in game, tap on options, head into settings, go to touch controls, and this is where you want to turn on the resizable UI. It will no longer be grayed out, and you can customize your controls to however you want. Now, this can actually be done for any of the touch controls, even these ones, which have been the default touch controls in Minecraft for over a decade. Like, if you wanted to put this all the way over there and that all the way over there, you can do that. You can individually resize these buttons on their own. And this is an absolutely huge day for Minecraft Pocket Edition players. Now, if you wanted to go ahead and save it, you just tap on done. You can go back in there as many times as you want. Let's say you don't like the opacity to be too high. You want it to be much lower. And then we click on done. And then we go back to game, and you will notice that the controls, as you can see, are how I previously had them. They are now faded out. For some reason, though, these controls have just reset themselves there. So it looks like there might actually be a few bugs. So we go into settings here, touch, customize it. Yeah, they reset themselves on their own. Let's see if we can do that again. Let's make this one much bigger again. And we're just going to put this like right here, and that one's done. Let's go back to game. Let's fly a second. Okay. Yes. Okay, so the default ones will actually reset themselves. Let's mess around with some of the newer controls introduced. We're going to mess around with joystick and aim crosshair. We're just going to hit OK. We're going to go to customize controls. And this is something that Pocket Edition players have wanted for a very long time. You can tap on individual buttons and move them to wherever you desire. It is completely up to you. For me personally, I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. So I'm going to move it there. I'm going to change the size of this. Maybe that's a little bit too big. I'm going to reduce it. Now, what I am going to do now is click done, go back into controls, and change the opacity. I know what's going to be happening on the left-hand side of my screen, so I don't really need to see it. In fact, it's going to obstruct my view if there's mobs in front of me. Now, after that, it's time to focus on these. Now, you can individually change the sizes of these, or something cool is you can change them all. Now, they cannot clash into each other. It makes like a thud sound if they're clashing and trying to overlap. So what we are going to do is just change the sizes to about that. I'm kind of happy with that. For me personally, I'm not going to mess around with the... In fact, we will mess around with the jump, but we'll leave it on the left-hand... Sorry, we'll leave the jump here, and we'll leave the attack there, and we'll leave my sprint there. So for me personally, what I am going to do is this one. I'm going to change the opacity of this one, change the opacity of this one. Now, when it comes to these two, so I'm going to use these, especially if you're a PvP player. I know players are going to like this one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the opacity, but not all the way like the other one. It's going to be a little bit brighter here. Opacity like that. So they are a little bit transparent, but still really easy to see. And you can click done. Now, if you do make a mistake, there is a big green reset button, which will reset them if you wanted to. Once you're happy, back out, go to resume, and as you guys can see here, these are now my controls. Now, for some reason, when I'm trying to attack, it makes the sound, but it's not letting me attack anything. So I actually think there's going to be so many cool customization options here for Pocket Edition players. It is finally here. And like I said, if you're not happy with it, go into touch controls, customize controls, completely reset it, and they are back to normal. And maybe you're not interested in those controls. You could go back to the other ones, activate these ones, and then go into your touch controls one more time and customize these ones if you really, really wanted to. And I love it. Great feature. It's available now, but it is a little bit buggy. Oh yeah, so I have just figured it out here. I had split controls on previously, so that's why it wasn't technically working. So it works perfectly fine in this one. But yeah, go and test your PvP skills. Hopefully you guys like the controls.